Hey friends, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are dealing with tomatoes. I have all those tomatoes that I had left from last year. I need to do something with them, so we're going to decide today. Let's get going. So I'm going to have a quick sit down with this little beauty. Yes, I love it. And we're going to have a look. I think I'm pretty much going to do salsa. I'll have a look because I used to be the only one who ate it, and so it wasn't worth doing a big batch of salsa just for me. But now the little one absolutely loves it, demolishes a whole jar if you'll let her. So I think it's probably the best bet. It's difficult because she can't eat it too hot. The boy don't like it too hot either, whereas my husband absolutely loves it flaming hot. You can always add chilies. So we're going to do a mild salsa, I think, and we'll see how we go with that. Let's crack on. So this is the quite clearly very well used page, as you can see, all the stains and the marks on it. In the salsa section, just the fresh vegetable salsa. I've got all of this already in, so we'll see how many cups. It says there, if you can see, 7 cups chopped peeled tomatoes. So we'll see what we get in the end, because I've got quite a lot there, but they are whole tomatoes. And I've got everything else in, so that's perfectly fine. Love this book, absolutely love it. If you haven't got it, get it. So this is my absolute ton of tomatoes. There's 2 bags here, so this whole one and this one have been defrosting overnight. There's still some green ones in there, so they may not get used. These are just the last ones that I pulled off of my tree. Not my tree, my plants that were just going funny because I had chopped them and taken care of them. So I just pulled off what we could and ripened them on the windowsill over there. Some of them aren't great, they're a bit green still, so they may not get used, or they might get chopped up and put in, I don't mind. So we're going to see what we get. They've been defrosting, they're mostly defrosted I think, so hopefully the skins should slip quite easily off them. And we'll chop them and put them in a bowl. I've got a big bowl. And we'll see what we've got at the end of it as to how much salsa we make, because if we've got like twice as much, I've got twice the ingredients, so I could make a double batch. So we'll have a look how many tomatoes by weight, there we go, and we've got at the end of it. So sounds better how much tomatoes we've got, you know what I mean, at the end, and we'll see if we're doubling the recipe or just doing a single one. We'll see. So I started out just thinking about how on earth I'm going to deal with all these tomatoes, because they were only partially defrosted. They were big bags, and I've had a thought the night before. I thought I was doing myself a good turn by putting them out to defrost. I should have tipped them out, and we would have got on much better. I saw a YouTube, I think it might have been YouTube, or it was an Instagram reel or something like that, about if you defrost them slightly, they'll peel off easier. And this one was lovely, peeled off lovely. They didn't all do that. I ended up ragging some of them apart. I'll show you by the end. It was a long and thankless task. I think, I know we're moving this year, so not this year, but in years to come, I definitely will invest in a food mill, because this was just so laborious. This one's taking ages, look. I do get myself and develop myself a little technique here in a little while, of slicing down the middle, emptying the seeds, and then as I've spread it right out, here we go, you can see me taking the seeds off, look. But in a few minutes I stumble upon one that works quite well. Slice down the middle, open it out flat, take the seeds out, and then if it's going to come off, the peel comes off quite nicely. But my goodness, my fingers were numb. The kids were trying to talk to me at various points, and all I could focus on was, I'm just doing these tomatoes, give me a minute. If you're a canner, or if you grow your own food and process your own food, you'll know the pain. So yes, in future it is definitely going to be a case of finding myself a food mill. And as I say in the video early on, this is me slicing, look. Some of them were green and couldn't get the skins off them at all. I had just thrown them in at the end of the season, the last few that were just ripening, and some of them weren't quite ripe enough. So, at the end of the day, I'd rather use some of them than use none of them. you know. I grew these. I'm so proud. This is the first year I've had an influx of tomatoes like this. I've never grown tomatoes outside before. And these worked really, really well. So I was so pleased with them. So they've been in my freezer since the end of last season. So we're talking good old 6 months at least now. And of course, I wanted to just move them because I'm moving. So I didn't want to take a freezer full of tomatoes with me. And it means I've got more space in my freezer now anyway. At this point, I was trying to warm them up and defrost the ones that had been in the middle. So that's a bowl of, starts out as hot tap water, but obviously it cools down as it goes. That did actually do some good. I will say that putting them in that and just warming them up a bit. Some of them that were really, really overripe went a bit squishy. But the majority of them, once I got them like this, they were absolutely fine. And I did end up with 1 recipe's worth of tomatoes. So this is what we ended up with. Some of these were wasted, some of them I couldn't get the peels off, some of them were too green, so yeah, I don't mind. You know, I'm trying to use up what we had, but some of those just aren't ready to go. But that's what we ended up with. I'm going to weigh it and then we'll see what we've got for the recipe. So the recipe calls for 1.7 litres, 7 cups. I'm going to call that good. So let's get on with chopping the rest of the ingredients. So the recipe calls for 2 cups of onions. I started weighing it out on my scales and in the end went for the cup measurements. It's easier. I find it a lot easier sometimes. So yeah, switched to cup measurements and went with that. So I've got 2 cups of onions. I think it was a cup of bell peppers then. The peppers. And then we wanted, I think it was about 8 chilies. And ended up putting all of them in. Actually, I was debating whether or not to make it hot, but I just went with the recipe, and after trying it afterwards, I tried a fresh bit that was in a part bottle, and yes, it is quite spicy, but my daughter can handle it. She quite likes spicy food, so I am glad that I put it all in, and that means we can all eat it. We just have to remind her that it's quite spicy. Chopping up the the peppers and the garlic going in there. It was easy to just chop it in the end. And then the tomato paste, I used puree, but not puree, passata. So there's my finished product when I've chopped it all with the scissors, because I've got to cut up the tomatoes before I started loading everything in. So that's the base ingredients. Now I've got my tomato paste, and then I've got my vinegar, some seasoning to go, and then it'll all get cooked down on the pot. So let's get on with that. So into the pot it goes to cook down. And then the horrible task that everybody has to do is cleaning up the kitchen. Also, while that's cooking it down, we've got real life happening because the child wants scrambled eggs. So, we make scrambled eggs at the same time as canning. Look at that, my newly, angle grinder did. My English is terrible today. My new angle ground. A beautiful scrambled eggs. So we've been cooking for about 20 minutes, I think now. But I remember from last time it was quite watery. So I know I wanted to boil it a little bit longer this time. So I'm going to show you, if you can see with the steam. It's getting quite thick now. Still some large bits there, but it's getting a bit thicker. Can't see. There we go. But as you can see, there's still quite a little bit of liquid in there. So I think we're going to give it another, 20 minutes or so, maybe a bit more. Just boil it down a bit, and then we'll have a go and get the canner going in a minute so it's ready to can. So I'm just filling this pressure canner up. I know we're just water bath canning, it doesn't need pressure canning, but I'm going to use the, finger's getting in the way. I'm going to use the canner. I've filled it up with the jar I'm going to use, and then as it boils and gets the temperature, it will sterilise the jars as well. And when we're ready to go, we'll fill them up and get this baby going. So we've got the lids sterilising on here when it comes up to a boil. It's just gone off the boil. We've got these on and heating up while this cooks down a little bit more. Just about got enough for them all on my little hob. So we're nearly there on the consistency of the salsa. I'm trying not to steam you up, so I don't know if you can see, but if I pull that back, there's only a little bit of liquid and it's taking time to, hang on, let me see if I can focus it in. So, pull that back. The liquid is taking a minute to come in. A bit more of the consistency we want. Still looking for a couple of minutes yet though. So now we're on to filling up the jars. They've been steaming in there for a while to sterilise. I'm just going to get them out. I did forget to get my funnel out. Always prepare yourself before you start canning. Luckily it's just in the bottom drawer there. So we're just going to fill it up. These are, I believe, 350ml jars. So not massive, but then, you know, not massively going to eat a great big pint jar of salsa at a time, I don't think. Not the two of us anyway. Making sure all the bubbles are out, making sure the headspace is correct. I've got a handy little nifty 2-in-1 where you can squelch out the bubbles at the bottom and then put the headspace in there. Vinegar wiping around the top to get any residue off so that you get a proper seal. These are reusable can lids. These are what we use in Britain mainly. They are reusable. They're just jam jar lids. They're all in there, ready to go. I believe they processed for about 30 minutes. Once the canner had finished, I pulled them off the boil, let them cool down for 5 minutes, and then left them on the side here like this for about 12 hours. And by the time we'd finished 12 hours, all of the lids had popped. They're all sealed, and I had one little part jar left. So that's quite a good job done today. I've got 6 jars of salsa there. That's used up the majority of my tomatoes. Got space in the freezer. I didn't want to be carting frozen stuff that was probably likely to defrost over to my mother-in-law's in a few weeks' time. And I've had them sat there for ages. So I'm really glad we've got to them. I think that means now that I can give the freezer a good clean out now. So that's going to be probably next week's job. I've already started going through all of the cupboards in the kitchen and getting rid of stuff I don't use and all that kind of stuff. I'm not doing a big kind of declutter video because I'm doing a little bit at a time. I've got like 9 weeks now still to go, so I'm just doing a little bit at a time. I might video some of the bigger jobs, but one cupboard at a time is not worth doing. But we're getting on with it. We've took some stuff to donate. We've put some stuff to the tip. This was another job well done. I'm very pleased with these. So see you next week. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe. See you soon.